All right, if you're prepping for your business analytics exam, you have come to the right place. We're about to connect all the dots, taking you from just a pile of raw data all the way to some real strategic insights.
Okay, let's dive right in. The core idea we're going to build everything around today is this: the analytics life cycle. You should think of this as the roadmap, the step-by-step anatomy for any analytics project that's actually going to succeed.
So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through each of these phases, and I'm going to show you exactly how they lock together, one after the other, to form this single, super powerful process. First things first. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here. Before we even dream of doing any analysis, we've got to be absolutely certain our data is telling us the truth. Why? Because if there's no trust, everything else we build is basically worthless.
Now, the very first danger you're going to face is something called the narrative trap. It's so easy to get swept up in a story that sounds good, But if the facts don't back it up, your professional credibility is toast. And this quote says it all: a wrong story will tear down your reputation way faster than a good one can build it up.
So this is the key distinction you have to get. There is a massive difference between data storytelling and data truth-telling. One makes you memorable, sure, but the other one? That's what makes you believable and builds a bulletproof reputation. To really make an impact, you need both.
For the exam, you need to put on your detective hat. Be on the lookout for these 3 classic biases. There's evidence bias, where you only look at the success stories. Context bias, where a chart is designed to trick your eyes. And inquiry bias, the classic mix-up of correlation and causation. The secret weapon? Just ask that one simple detective question for each. It'll save you every time.
Okay, so now we've got data we can actually trust. The next step is figuring out how to ask the right questions. And that's exactly where business frameworks come into play. They give our work a purpose, a strategic direction.
The best way to think about a framework is like a blueprint for a house. It gives you a solid structure, it keeps you from making silly mistakes, and it makes sure your analysis is actually focused on what the business cares about.
We usually start by looking outside the 4 walls of the company, using the PESTLE model. This framework helps us map out all those big external forces shaping our world. The trends you can't really control, but you absolutely have to understand and react to. And here's that connection I was talking about. What you discover in your PESTLE analysis, those big external forces, becomes the direct raw material for scenario planning. It's how you go from just observing the world to actively preparing for a whole range of different futures.
So while PESTLE is our telescope for looking out at the world, the Balanced Scorecard is our microscope for looking inside our own organization. It forces us to measure what really drives long-term success, not just this quarter's financial results.
Now this slide is a big one for your exam. This is where you see how all the pieces click together into a SWOT analysis. Pay attention to this. Your internal factors, the strengths and weaknesses, they come from an analysis of your value chain. And the external factors, your opportunities and threats, they come straight from your PESTLE analysis. That flow is absolutely critical.
All right, with our strategy all framed up, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty with the data itself. We need to pull out specific answers to our questions, and that means our logic has to be completely airtight.
A question like this seems simple enough, doesn't it? But it is absolutely full of traps, especially one really common one.
And that trap is called the blank cell trap. Seriously, tattoo this one on your brain for the exam. If you forget that spreadsheets often see an empty cell as the number 0, you can get a totally wrong answer. It's a tiny little detail that can have massive, massive consequences.
Let's see this in action. The flawed formula on the left, it walks right into the trap. It sees a blank age cell, thinks, oh, that's 0, and counts that person as being under 10. Whoops! The correct formula on the right is smarter. It explicitly checks to make sure the cell isn't blank before it does the age comparison.
So for your exam, just remember these 3 golden rules. They are your best defense against making a logical mistake. Number 1, always respect the blank cell. 2, get your order of operations right. And 3, simple and clear is always better than complex and confusing. Transparency is your friend.
We're in the home stretch now. After all that tough analytical work, we have to present what we found in a way that's actually clear, compelling, and makes people want to take action.
Listen, the best dashboards are not just static reports. They're living, breathing, interactive tools. They tell a story by adding comparisons for context.
They empower people with filters to find their own answers. And they invite curiosity with drill downs, so you can go from the 30,000-foot view right down to the nitty-gritty details.
And here's a pro tip. Remember that even the best-looking dashboard can break. You need to be ready to debug common issues like filters that aren't playing nicely together or data sources that have gone missing. Troubleshooting is just part of the game.
Okay, let's wrap this all up and put everything back together one last time.
And here we are, full circle, back to the analytics lifecycle. The single most important thing to remember is that this is a chain. A mistake in phase 1, the truth-telling part, will poison your frameworks in phase 2. That leads to bad logic in phase 3, which results in a dashboard in phase 4 that might look beautiful but is totally misleading. Every single step depends on the one that came before it.
So when you walk into that exam, keep this in your head. Your job isn't just about crunching numbers. It's about building trust, delivering a real finding, and protecting that bulletproof reputation. Now go ace that test. Good luck.